Hello everyone, this is module number 214 for the subject of strategic human resource management. And in this module, we will continue to talk about some negative consequences for organization and employees and other stakeholders if an organization is engaged in poor corporate social responsibility practices. So in this module, particularly, we will focus on consumers, the most important stakeholders of an organization. So the first thing first, that is the publicity stunt. When consumers believe that the organization is promoting something which is fake. So organization is actually engaged in poor corporate social responsibility, but they are trying to publicize, or they are trying to demonstrate that they are doing something good for the society, or they are producing something which is good for the consumers. So this publicity stunt may prevent the growth of the organization in the future. So the implications are very simple and straightforward, that organizations should communicate to the consumers what is really important, what really matters to the consumers, and what really they produce in the real world. So publicity stunt is very common in many organizations. For example, you see that an organization is producing a kind of, let's say, juice, and they show in the advertisement that somebody who drinks that juice made up of some citrus or anything, or lemon or something, or ginger, and within few days or few weeks there is a significant reduction in the weight. So when consumers, they believe that the organization is communicating, which is not true. Actually, the organization is doing a publicity based on wrong information or misinformation. So that can have a negative impact on consumers in many ways. Takes custom or business somewhere else. Obviously, if you are the consumer of an organization and you see that organization is engaged in poor corporate social responsibility practices, for example, they are consuming the natural resources, or for example, they are producing something which is not good for health. As a consumer, you may stop using that company products. And if it happens, there can be a significant financial implications for the organization. Let me give you an example. Sometimes in the past, when McDonald's, they started operations in the India, so they were communicating that whatsoever they are producing, it can be used by the people who are vegetarian. However, sometimes later, after several years, in the United States, there was a case filed in the court, and some four people, they presented the evidence in the court that they are using the fat or the cooking oil or the ghee which was made up of a fat. So you know that the vegetarian people, their religious beliefs or cultural beliefs, that they avoid anything made up from animals. And anyway, making the story short, the organization was sued by the people, and the court fined the McDonald. And in the near future, and in the future, the McDonald apologized to the public of India for miscommunicating or saying something which is not true, or they wanted to gain the benefit of that. So in other words, the people can take their business somewhere else. Consumers may start consuming the products of other companies when they believe that there is something wrong in the organization, or organization is communicating what actually they are not practicing, and makes a derogatory or disrespectful remarks about the company to family and friends, and to anyone they contact. When consumers believe that organization is engaged in some negative practices, or which we call that poor corporate social responsibility, they may communicate to their friends and family that don't use the products of this company. They are using something which is not good for you, good for health, good for society, or anybody who is a stakeholder of the organization. Let me give you a psychological example of that. When somebody has done, or when you have found a good product, or when you have used a product which is really good, as a result, you will feel it as a social obligation to communicate to others that this is a remarkable product, or this is a great company, or the company has engaged in something. So you feel an obligation to communicate because you think that the company is doing good efforts, so the company should get the benefit out of it. On the other hand, psychologically, it is said that the impact is greater, and when you are deceived by a company, or when you are deceived by an employer, or anybody, something selling in the market, and you have a bad experience, or you know something about the company which is really bad, as a reciprocity, or in return, you also feel it as an obligation to tell others not to use those products, stop going to those places, or not to get into that business. So, for example, you have a bad experience with anything, so you feel that okay, it is an obligation now on your shoulders to tell others not to use that. So, a poor corporate social responsibility may have a severe financial impact on the organization as communicated by the consumers to other consumers. Thank you.